welcome to this week's live weekly warm-up. Hold on, I got logged out of my Facebook account, so I have to log in again so I can share everything, which was a fun, unexpected technological issue. Let's see. There it is. Okay. So for this week, I've been noticing with a few of my students and in my own playing that there's a lot of overcomplication of staccato. And this has been a big issue in my whole clarinet playing journey, that just articulation in general, I really like to overcomplicate. When I first started, didn't tongue at all. Eventually, I learned that I should tongue and started touching my tongue to the reed. And pretty quickly, I actually developed a really nice legato. For me, like super, super smooth legato has never been a difficulty or an issue. I've always been really good at that. But staccato is a really big issue. And I think for me and for a lot of my students, and probably for a lot of you watching this, the issue is that we just overcomplicate articulation too much. Articulation is just touching your tongue to the reed, nothing more, nothing less. It's not as complicated as we like to make it. So what I want to do for this week's warm-up and the exercise I challenge you to give a try is just playing one note, playing some tongued and articulated notes, and just staying on one note, taking your time, thinking about how your tongue is moving so you can sort of get in tune and get in touch with what your tongue is actually doing, what your air and embouchure is actually doing while you're trying to play the clarinet and while you're trying to articulate in particular. I think you might find, as you just really sort of sit with the notes and listen and feel what's going on, you may find some more interesting things that you didn't realize were happening. Another thing you could do is actually do this in front of a mirror too, and you might see some interesting things that you didn't know were happening. So I'm just going to demonstrate this. I've done exercises kind of similar to this in the past, talking about independent tongue motion, but let me just demonstrate this so that you can sort of hear what I'm doing and what I'm thinking, and then I'll talk more about it. So I'm literally just playing one note and just doing some very slow articulation on it. So the point of this is to really get in tune with how your tongue's actually moving, what's happening to the sound as your tongue moves, and how different tongue motion changes how things sound. And what I encourage you to listen for when you're doing this is take time to check in with the tip of your tongue. That'll probably be the most obvious place to check in with, but see how the tip of your tongue is touching the reed and coming on and off the reed. But also pay attention to what the middle of your tongue, the back of your tongue, in your throat, the soft palate, the air, the embouchure, like just check as many places as you can. Try to get like a really good sort of 3D mapping of what all is happening inside of your mouth when you go to tongue. The goal is that the tongue is something sort of like this, kind of high in the back with the tip of the tongue getting close to the reed. And that when you go to touch the reed, it's just the tip of the tongue touching it and then coming off. Nothing else changes. For me, what I find happens a lot of times when I touch my tongue to the reed, the rest of this stuff sort of bunches up and gets higher in my mouth. I get sort of extra tense in my embouchure. And then when I take the tongue off the reed, weird stuff happens. There's extra sound. There's not great quality of clarinet tone coming out right away. So what I need to do is figure out how to just let it just be the tip of the tongue. And I find doing an exercise like this just gives me so much time and space to really think about like, And you could hear how I had kind of a lot of different issues that I had to sort of iron out. First, I was leaking. There was that little bit of hissing air, squealing air coming out. So I had to bring my corners in and seal that off. And then I was getting sort of like a kind of thuddy sound at the beginning. So what I ended up doing to fix that was actually lowering my tongue overall. Again, I think I was getting a little too bunched up at the reed and a little too tense on the reed. So just sort of backing off my tongue. And even more than that, I was just thinking like, what does it feel like to just play this C continuously and beautifully and easily? And I just did that even while my tongue was on the reed. So the goal of all articulation is to be just playing the clarinet, playing your best long tone sound, and then the tip of the tongue touches the reed, stops the vibration of the reed. Nothing more than that. That's all that's happening. It's just the tip of the tongue stopping the vibration of the reed. So I hope this exercise is helpful. I find like it's so easy to just overcomplicate articulation and think, well, if I do like this kind of thing, like sometimes I can make it sound good if I do weird, complicated things. And that's not the goal. Of course, the sound at the end of the day is what's most important, and getting a sound that sounds the way that you want. But I bet 90% of the time you'll be able to get that more consistently. Actually, let's say nearly 100% of the time, you'll be able to get that more consistently, more confidently, with better sound if you just think about keeping that long tone going in all of your mouth and in all of the sound, and then just using the tip of your tongue to stop the vibrations and then take it off. And if you can get great control over this, then you can do it at all kinds of different speeds, whether you want legato notes or staccato notes or whatever kind of articulation you may want. Once you're comfortable with the idea of controlling the tongue and just having the tongue be the catalyst for articulation, then you'll be able to do all of the articulation. So I hope this helps. I really challenge you for maybe this whole week for all of your articulation warm-ups. Just take your time, be really, really simple about it. Focus on the sound quality, focus on keeping the sound going in your mouth, and just letting that tongue motion be as simple and easy as possible. So thanks so much for watching this one. I also want to let you know that I will not be doing a live weekly warm-up next week. I'm going to take the week off for 4th of July because I have some stuff going on, but I will be back the week after that. So I will see you all in 2 weeks on the next live weekly warm-up. And hey, that just gives you even more time to focus on your nice, simple staccato, simple tongue motion articulation. So good luck with that. And I'll see you in 2 weeks on the next live weekly warm-up.